Hey, peace and blessings, family. Nero here. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys today about the sun signs, or continue talking with you guys about the sun signs. And in this video in particular, we're going to talk about Gemini sun, the sun sign, sun and the sign of Gemini. And yeah, with the sun and the sign of Gemini, you could also look at this as placement as like a third house sun or sun in the third house, or if you're familiar with aspects, you could probably even twist it in a way to look at it as like, you know, Sun conjunct Mercury, because Mercury does rule over Gemini, and Sun in Gemini is like Sun going to, Sun being in the realm of Mercury pretty much, because Mercury ruled by, Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So you could also twist in that too if you want to. But yeah, with that being said, let's get right into it, shall we? So yeah, Sun and Gemini. First things first, we know Sun represents your wants and your actions, what you're consciously aware of. It also represents your creativity and the way you express it, and what gives you life, or what you bring life. What you bring life to, it gives you life. So yeah. Now, when we got Sun in the sign of Gemini, a person's wants, and their actions is going to be fixated around things dealing with familiarity, because Gemini is an air sign. I think I said that. And what does air sign deal with? Air sign, or not what does air signs deal with, what does the air element deal with? The air element itself deals with things like your, thinking, your mental mind, your intellect, and also deals with, communication, your throat. But along with those things, it also deals with analyzing and organizing, and, analysis we can do, talk about critique too. So there is that too. And then with analyzing, we know analyzing is just something that you do in order to, try to, you know, categorize something or someone, put them in a box, so you can kind of, like I said, ultimately become, familiar with that person, place, or thing which you are, providing, inquiring about, because you could also look at like air as the element that deals with inquiry, things like that. So, yes, and also being observant. So there you go. Probably have to put more detail in that than I had to, but it is what it is. Hey, it probably gave somebody else more thought. It probably gave someone else more expansion, and then that's something else. That speaking of expansion, Gemini, much like Sagittarius, is also it's a sign that also deals with expansion too. Whereas Gemini likes to, there's thing Gemini Sagittarius is that Gemini likes to think, think about it, think of it, pretty much think it, and analyze it, make sense out of it, be familiar with it. Sagittarius likes to, just, you know, be expansive and do things expansively, things like that, because where, like we said, Gemini is air, Sagittarius is fire. Fire is action, and more so like the physical expression, whereas air is also action, but it's more so your expression through your throat, and and through how you write. It's the lighter form of expression. So, yeah. So that we'll just go with that pretty much. With Sun and Gemini, a person's gonna want expansion, and stimulation, more so in like the intellectual sense, and also in the sense of familiarity too. That's why I said you could look at it as like Sun in the third house pretty much, and interchange them, because with Sun in the third house is the house of communication. So we got the Sun, which is somebody's actions and conscious awareness. Here people are going to be consciously aware of what what's the third house deal with? Their immediate surroundings, their immediate and environment, their siblings, short short distance, short distance travels, things like that. And so that goes hand in hand with Gemini, with the familiarity. But let's not forget that Gemini is also a mutable air sign too. And what does mutable mean? It means adaptable, changeable, flexible, open to, or broad, or broadening, things like that. And so when you put that along with the element of air, which likes to deal with familiarity, Sun and third house goes right, you know, it goes hand in hand with, Sun and third house goes hand in hand with, Sun and Gemini's, seeking like, you know, that familiarity and, that knowledge and that education, whether it's within, the short distance travels that they may take, or whether it's with their, siblings, their immediate environment, surroundings, and all that. And let's not forget the third house also does the education, which goes hand in hand with the um, mental mind too. So it's also a sign that deals with, and that goes hand in hand with what I was saying earlier about this being, Gemini's one expansion more so in the, intellectual sense. So there is that too. I hope this making sense because when it comes to me talking about air signs, I'm not an air person myself, so I tend to, you can probably tell by how I may struggle to keep things formulated by how I speak them out. So I only got 2 points of air on my chart. I'm not, like I said, I'm not really an air person, but yeah, that's not really for this video, but it explains why I struggle with, speaking out things in a, more constructive, formal sense, I guess. But yeah, it all goes hand in hand. And then when, with Sun conjunct Mercury, um, with Sun conjunct Mercury, the aspect itself, you could look at it like a person, what a person's wants and actions is, goes hand in hand with what a person, how a person likes to, communicate. Or you could also look at it as like, a person's actions is teaming up with the way a person likes to communicate, things like that. So that's why that's kind of why I was like saying Sun and Gemini could be seen as like Sun conjunct Mercury. But thank you. 122 on the clock. But yeah, that's a 5. And 5 is also speaking of 5 is also associated with dependent Mercury. And we're just talking about Mercury now. And it's like Sun and Sun conjunct Mercury. A person's, like I was saying, is like Sun and Gemini. A person's actions is going to be dealing with what? That's, they're going to be associated with familiarity. So yeah, it all goes, and like it's all connected. And I feel like, if you're a Gemini, I feel like there's like I know how all it's weird. I think I talked about it earlier. I'm like that person who knows. I'm that kind of person who, hasn't like an understanding, inner knowing about how things work. But when it comes to like actually expressing that there's trouble with that, that's because I'm more of like they call it, yeah, I know what I mean. I don't want to get too into detail with that and too lost into it because we're talking about the sun signs here and Sun Gemini, third house Sun conjunct Mercury, Sun aspect Mercury. So yeah, but yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. It probably didn't have to be as complicated. I probably already knocked it out within like the first probably 4 or 5 minutes. But I like to leave it all in there because I want people to know that I like to show people that I'm not perfect when I make these videos and that we, all no one's perfect. So yeah, not gonna overthink that. But yeah, this is gonna be my take on the Sun and Gemini. And if you guys did it like this, and not so much if you liked it, if you enjoyed it, that's cool. But more so important, if you have feedback or comments that you think would help, or just want to add and want to know about my take on, something that, the video may have triggered up in you, that's, even better. So, yeah. But with that being said, this is going to be my take on the Sun, in Gemini. Hopefully it wasn't too, uh, you know, disorganized or too sloppy. Yeah, hopefully it wasn't. And if it was, feel free to let me know because it's a learning process. When I put it out there, I'll be able to learn from it. And that's a Sagittarian thing too. And that's ultimately the key of it, to expose yourself to the experience in order to learn from it. So in the end, it's all good. But yeah, with this being said, you guys, I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll talk to you guys later where I talk about Sun and the sign of Cancer. And yeah, until then, I love y'all. Have a good afternoon and peace.